Well, thank you for taking some time out of your day to share a short devotional. Reverend James, the pastor at St. Lawrence Presbyterian, has asked me to take a few minutes and just do a short devotional to kind of help us get through this rough time where we can't meet as church. So, if you're a member of St. Lawrence, welcome. If you aren't and you're just viewing this online and have been checking out our live stream, welcome to you guys as well. This has been a great opportunity for us to kind of spread our message outside of kind of the four walls of St. Lawrence, if you will. During this kind of Easter season, it being hard to meet with family and friends. I know I can't go visit my own family. My brother's diabetic, my mom's diabetic. You can't see them, so you can't get together. But as I was going through and kind of reading some of the passages around Easter that we would kind of traditionally do, the one that came to my mind, one that I've always kind of had a connection with, is the story of Doubting Thomas. So, for anyone wanting to look that up in your Bibles, that's John chapter 20, verses 24 to 30. I'm just going to quickly read those. Now, Thomas, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe it." A week later, his disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them, though the doors were locked. Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your fingers here. See my hands? Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas said to him, "My Lord and my God." Then Jesus told him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet still believe." And then goes on to say that Jesus then did more miraculous signs, and then as we go on in John, we see that Jesus kept appearing to his disciples. Why that passage kind of hits me right now, more probably than anything else, is this idea that Thomas had gone out, probably on a grocery run, while all of his friends were kind of locked up and quarantined in their homes. And I can kind of relate to that. With this time, you don't really go outside unless you need, essential groceries or, a piece of plumbing breaks in your house, something that is essential. Other than that, you don't leave your home. And it's hard. As I've noticed and talking to my friends and my family, it's hard when you're so used to seeing people, so used to seeing your friends, and now you can't. You talk to them over the phone, you might Skype them, you might Zoom them, but it's not the same. So Thomas goes out for whatever reason, and as he's gone, Christ appears to the disciples. And all of a sudden Thomas comes back from, the grocery run, and all of his friends, all the people who were there are now saying, "We have seen the Lord. This is amazing, this is wonderful, it's actually happening. He's actually returned from the grave." And Thomas, in kind of a more scientific way, a more practical way, goes, "Unless I see it, unless you can show me actual evidence, and I can touch him, I can see him, I'm not gonna believe." And why this is striking me so much right now, in kind of this time of uncertainty, this time of not really knowing what to believe right now. There's so much being shared on all the various news networks, some saying, you know, things are doing fine, saying things aren't, some who are trying to show evidence, some who are trying to show feeling, trying to show counter evidence that, maybe doesn't line up with the scientific community. And us kind of being in that realm of Thomas going, unless I see it, how can I believe it? How can I trust what's going on around me? And what's striking is kind of the end of the passage when Christ talking to Thomas of saying, "Okay, you've seen me now." But so many people haven't and yet still believe. part of the thing that we have to do as church, we have to do as positive symbols, positive people in society, is to say, maybe we haven't seen all the evidence, but we still believe that things are going to get better. Now, I'm not suggesting or saying in any way that we should go out and protest and say that the rules that are in place shouldn't apply to us because we believe something else. I'm saying we need to make sure that we're listening to everything, but listening to it with an open heart and an open mind. Right now, we know that there are people who have COVID-19. We know there are people who are struggling because they want to go and see that family member who might be sick, who might just be lonely. And right now, we have to trust that doing the self-isolating, doing the quarantine is going to allow us to get there faster. But it's not easy. So what we're looking at is this idea that we have to have faith. We have to trust and believe that the God who said, even if you haven't seen, still believe, is still there with us, even in quarantine, even when we are isolated. So, my kind of encouragement to anyone watching this is take some time this week, reach out to your family, out to your friends who are locked in their own upper rooms, who can't go outside for whatever reason. Maybe they're immunocompromised, maybe they're just scared. Find those people and reach out to them and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Tell them some good news that you know about. Maybe someone's doing really well in their own, goals and self-isolation. I know I've seen a lot of friends who've been completing home projects for their kids, building jungle gyms or, anything like that. And share that there is something positive that is coming out of this, and it isn't all negative. That there is something working in our communities that's allowing us to become stronger. Whether that be knowing that we need to rely on our frontline workers who are doing an amazing job. I know I have a bunch of friends who are nurses who I know I keep in prayer, that they don't get sick. I've got friends who are firefighters. I've got friends who are police officers who all still have to work. Um, I know all of our hearts go out to Nova Scotians who are going through such a devastating loss right now in the midst of everything else that they cannot congregate together to mourn together. So our hearts and our prayers go out to them today. So to end this, be encouraged that even if we are in our own upper rooms, God is still able to get in. God is still able to work in that upper room to bring changes to us. And no matter what's going on in our lives, Jesus is still there. He is risen. That's what the season is about. He is risen and he is there with us. So stay close, stay with your families. Don't go outside if you don't have to. Let's try and get this done so that we can return to seeing our friends and seeing our families as quickly as possible. God bless.